Inspired Conversations, episode number 4. And today's question, what would it take? The question, what would it take, is a really powerful question. Because, and you can either come at it from a point of view of having a vision and not knowing how to get there, or it can come from a point of view where you're not happy with the way things are going, or you're not happy the way things are turning out.
Yeah.
And you would ask yourself, what would it take for things to be different?
Yeah. Which then encourages you to think bigger than your normal world, what you've only ever known. Because in order to get out of what you've only ever known, you really have to think differently or create something differently or go, well, even if you see people or hear people talking a certain way or being a certain way, it's like, man, they're happy and I'm just not. It's like, your focus then goes into, well, how did they do that? What would it take for me to be happy? And then that opens the door for, inspiration, I guess, the mind to, and the soul to, and the universe to provide little, I guess,
messages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a great question to ask because it's a question that you don't have to have an answer for.
No.
In a way, it's a rhetorical question to the universe.
Yeah.
And if you are just willing to ask yourself that question in times of frustration when you're trying to achieve something, in times of if you're getting upset with something, and if you ask yourself that question...
What a powerful thing to do. I've never thought of it like that. Like in the moments where you are just, emotionally just, frustrated. It's hard because that energy is so there. But it's like to ask that question in those moments, well, what would it take to resolve this or to move through this, in a way that, is helpful for everyone? Then you're opening the door.
But even if you just focused on yourself, so if you were, say, upset about something, you could say, what would it take for me to not feel upset about this? That, and opening up that question to the universe, that's opening a doorway. That's opening up
that's right.
a door for something to change. What you're doing with that question, it's a very powerful, what I would call energetic question.
Yeah.
Because what it's doing is it's channeling a little bit of energy to actually open things up all around you.
Well, it's pulling you out of the pattern that you've always played your entire life until you do something that changes the way you normally respond and react and, play things out. You're going to do that. So this is just a gorgeous way to open that door. And you don't need to know the answer. It's just being open to letting it
That's exactly right. Yeah,
come out of now rather than your past energies. You can't refer back to your past for a solution if you're willing to change, those patterns.
That's right, because, your past is not going to have any of the answers. And, the past is gone. It's the past. And you don't have to project even into the future because that hasn't happened either. But if you just ask yourself that question in the moment, because then what will happen is you then allow that space to reveal something to you.
But it's true. You do get those messages, but you just need to allow that.
You could be standing at a bus stop and a bus pulls up and there's a great big slogan on the side of the bus. That could be your message. You could be standing, right. You could be driving in your car and a song comes on the radio.
Yeah.
And you tune into the words of the lyrics that have been sung.
And it's just perfect. It's a moment.
Yeah, that's how the universe works. Or you might bump into a complete stranger who just happens to talk about a certain topic and you go... Wow, how did that happen? Or you may even get an email come through and the communication in that email is of a similar topic.
Yeah.
But if we're not open to and being willing to recognise those things, then we don't. The answers are all around us all the time. That's the funny thing.
But ultimately, for me, finding that space where you then feel it, you know it, you get those messages come through. I mean, that's the intuition really coming through and going, this is what's happened, this is the story, to, you know, be grateful for this experience because it's taught you a lot, but now it's time to change, and now you're ready to experience something much more beautiful. And
well, I mean, as you know, human beings, as is everything in nature, it's all evolving every moment. And we are never static. We are never still in a sense that things aren't changing. There's constant change moving all around us. The air is moving all the time. The clouds are moving all the time. The earth is spinning all the time. Everything's moving all the time. And it's that evolution of, and energetically we are shifting all the time. And it's just tapping into that flow as opposed to being rigid in a past belief. Oh, that happened to me 3 times in a row when I was a kid, and therefore that's the way it is in the world for the rest of my life. That's not true. It may have happened for you when you were a kid, but you can then choose to go, well, okay, that was when I was a kid, and I'm aware of that now, but now I can see that here's 5 other possibilities of you know, how that can play out.
So what would it take? What a wonderful way to, you know, to again provide that space for you to make change in your life. Yeah,
so simple, such a simple everyday little, you know, and just, I mean, catch yourself in moments of frustration or despair, or where you're just thinking, oh, you know, it's.
But even just as a little exercise in your life, you don't have, nothing has to be going on. But it's like, well, look, you know, look at your life, and it's like, well, what would it take to be happier? What would it take to be more successful? What would it take to laugh more? You know, what would it take? That's right, you know, all of those things.
Start to focus on what you do want in your life, and that's the thing. When we do start to focus on what we do want in our life, again, you don't have to have the answers. All you need to do is have a vision and then ask the question.
Be open for those opportunities, those messages to come into your life. That's the thing. Don't get caught up in how is this going to happen? Da, 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 da. It's like just allow it to happen.
Exactly. Even this very conversation, we started off not knowing what we were talking about, and we've managed to chat for 8 minutes. So it's incredible. What would it take? I like it.